It's not afternoon yet. Oh, it's afternoon? Oh, yeah, I'm ready. It's afternoon, yes. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are ready to begin this ceremony. Can I ask everyone to please stand as we invite Principal Levon Blyden Henry to come and give the invocation for us, please.
Let us pray. Almighty God, our most merciful Father, we thank you for this day. Father, we thank you for the gift of life. Father, as this ceremony is about to begin, God, we ask that you take total control. Father, we pray that whatever is done here today, oh God, it's a groundwork for greater things to come. At the end of the day, dear God, may it benefit the generations to come. Bless us all in these proceedings. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew Foy and Mrs. Foy. Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Julian Willock. Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries and Agriculture, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley. Minister for Transportation, Works and Utilities, Honorable Kai Reimer. Minister for Natural Resources, Labor and Immigration, Honorable Vincent Wheatley. Minister for Health and Social Development, Honorable Kevin Malone, also a territorial representative. Junior Minister for Tourism and Territorial Representative, Honorable Shari D. Castro. Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development and Territorial Representative, Honorable Shireen Flax Charles. Representative for the 2nd Electoral District, Honorable Melvin Turnbull. Permanent Secretary in the Premier's Office, Mrs. Dr. Caroline O'Neill Morton. Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Ms. Lorna Stevens, or Education Officer for Governance, Mr. Arthur Selwood. Principal of the Just Van Dyke Primary School, Mrs. Levon Blyden Henry, or Contractor, Mr. Butcher. Teachers present, members of the Just Van Dyke community, everyone gathered here this morning, we say good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to the contract signing ceremony for the design phase of the Just Van Dyke Primary School. The songwriter says, you don't wait until the battle is over, you shout now. So today, in our case, we are not waiting until the building is completed. We are starting to shout from now. So today we are here. It's going to be a brief ceremony, but we're going to be here to sign, and this is an important milestone for the Ministry of Education as we move towards creating a safer environment for students, a better environment in which they can operate and work from. And so we're going to, at this time, invite the Minister for the subject, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, the Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries and Agriculture, to come and give our opening remarks at this time. I should have said that I'm Carolyn Stout Igwe, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education. Minister Wheatley.
Thank you, P.S. Igwe. Pleasant good morning to everyone. Is it morning or afternoon now? Good afternoon to everyone. I recognize the protocol already established, but certainly allow me to recognize the Premier and the First Lady who are present. Thank you for coming, First Lady. Wonderful to see you here, and the First family as well. Yeah, wonderful to see you. Recognize cabinet members, district representative, members of the House of Assembly, senior civil servants. We also have to recognize as well the Speaker of the House, certainly. being here. Yes, and all you who have come here from Jas Van Dyke to celebrate this very special occasion. What a wonderful day for Jas Van Dyke today. Jas Van Dyke, give yourselves a round of applause. Principal Blyden Henry, good to see you here. I know you must be thrilled that we are advancing the process. How many years ago was it when I was here at Jas Van Dyke at the Methodist Church camp that we had over here? It had to be close to 30 years ago. I was here, and I got my first kiss in Jas Van Dyke. First wet kiss. Yes. I'll never forget Jas Van Dyke. My good friend over there with that same camp, you know. Yes, and I'll never forget Jas Van Dyke. And Jas Van Dyke showed me some BVI love. So it's only right that we send some BVI love to Jas Van Dyke. And let me just say very clearly, very honestly, the conditions for our young people here are not acceptable. We know that, and we see that, and it is time for us to get the ball rolling towards putting these young persons in a school, in a structure that they deserve. And we are happy that we are at this point now. I pledge to the people of Jas Van Dyke, I pledge to the district representative that for me, this is priority number one in the education system right now. So we will get it done for you. And I'm very grateful to Brother Ashton McCall and Brother Butcher, who's here with us. We give apologies on behalf of Brother McCall, who had a medical appointment and could not be here. But we came here to Jas Van Dyke. We did our studies. We did our walkthroughs. We met with the community, which is a very important aspect of the process. The community spoke clearly. They spoke loudly. And when we evaluated all the circumstances, we came to the conclusion that the hillside is the best place for the school. Of course, we have the flooding problem down here on the flat. The community said they want a recreational space for the community. And guess what? This is going to be the recreational space for the community. That's what the community said they want. That's what the community is going to get. You need a recreational space here. We need to make sure we raise up the basketball court, put it a little higher so we don't have the flooding issue that we're having. And another advantage of putting it on the hill is that we'll be able to continue our school while that's taking place. So there are a number of advantages, and the pricing was not that far apart. So it works well. And thank you, Brother Butcher and Brother McCall, for assisting with that process. I also have to thank the donors, Tish and Jerry, and we have another donor as well, which secured through the Premier and the Minister for the 9th District, who have identified an additional donor. And of course, the government of the Virgin Islands has pledged money and pledged to see this project straight through to the end. So we have what we need now to get the process rolling, and we can expect a state-of-the-art, modern facility to be built for the people of Jas Van Dyke. Absolutely. So, Minister of Finance, I thank you for your commitment, and I thank the support of my cabinet colleagues and members of the House of Assembly for helping to push this process forward. And I won't say too much more than that, just to say, Principal Blyden Henry, that I must recognize you every time I step to this podium, because you've been making miracles happen, and making wonders happen. But we don't want to continue to put you in a position where you have to make miracles happen and wonders happen all the time. Give the principal a round of applause. Been doing a fantastic job, and I just want to say that better days are ahead. And one more time a round of applause for the people of Jasper and Dyke, because I think you can see, because early on in the process, after being elected, it was difficult for you to really have a very optimistic view based on how you've been treated in the past. But I think you're beginning to see that we will match our talk with action. We will match our talk with action. It's not just going to be a talk shop. And this really starts with our leader, the premier, who is an action man. He doesn't sleep. In fact, sometimes you get worried about his health because he doesn't want to take a break. He wants to walk all day, all night. And all of us have to walk all day and all night with him. Yeah, so we get worried about his health. So we want him to come over to Jas Van Dyke and take a break. I know the last time he came over here, he caused a little problem. But we won't go back there. But we worry about his health. But under his leadership, we're going to get a lot of things done over here in Jas Van Dyke. And of course, we have the other ceremony that's to follow here. And I won't get too far ahead of myself or steal the premier's thunder. So thank you so much for coming here to recognize this very important occasion. The last time we were over here at the public meeting, the premier said in no uncertain terms that the Minister of Education will be back with a design. And here we are. And we are here, and we're going to see this project straight through to completion. So thank you for your kind attention. And we look forward to advancing this process in 2021. You're going to see some real action happening over here. And let me also recognize, my apologies, the Recovery Development Agency, which is the agency which will be managing this project. We have Brother Neil Smith here. Give Brother Neil Smith a round of applause. It's been a pleasure to work with the Recovery Development Agency thus far, and I know that they'll do a fantastic job with this particular project. So having said that, do enjoy your day. It's a very special day for Jas Van Dyke, and I'm looking forward to the other speakers and also the other event to follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Jas Van Dyke rests in the 2nd District, and today we are honored to have with us the district representative, Honorable Melvin Mitch Tumble, and we invite him at this time to come and bring greetings to the people of Jas Van Dyke. Just to let you know, upcoming we have with us today our territorial representatives, and they will also be coming to greet you before the contract is signed, and then we will be having the premier to wrap up everything. So, Honorable Tumble.
Thank you, P.S. Igwe. The protocol being established, but I must recognize the Honorable Premier, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, and Deputy Premier, Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Agriculture and Fisheries. Yes. My good friend and brother, the Honorable Natalio Whitley, all other members of Cabinet, Minister Malone, Minister Reimer, Minister Whitley, Junior Ministers for Trade and Tourism, and the Speaker of the House of Assembly. I want to say good morning to you all, or afternoon, and good afternoon to the wonderful people of Jas Van Dyke. Yeah, I always get confused when people say they want to welcome me to Jas Van Dyke. I welcome everybody to Jas Van Dyke because this is home. So I welcome all the government, Premier and his ministers. I welcome you home. This is another piece of paradise here in the Virgin Islands. The Premier know when I say something to him, he knows he's gonna hear it. So I know he's gonna fix it. I was wondering why when we started we didn't have the at least the territorial song, because it is a part of our culture building. It's part of our territorial pride and our national pride. And I think even though it may have been omitted, I think it's something that we need not take for granted given the current circumstances that we face. But today is an important day, and I also want to sorry and recognize First Lady Madam Sheila Foy and her family for being here as well. But today's a very special day in Just Van Dyke. It is another step in the right direction. Premier knew and knows from 2017, I think, right shortly after 2017, he introduced me to a gentleman who had made the first pledge towards rebuilding this school. Money was in hand and no action was taken. And I spoke to him on many occasions about my frustration with nothing moving. At that time, he was trying to get me to come with him, even though I was already in opposition on the government side. So the blows that they threw, or they tried to throw, it won't stick because I had left long before I left. Anyway, but I'm happy to be here today for the contract signing. We know the people of Just Van Dyke are well aware of the woes, of the struggles that we've had with this school. The videos that I've shown on Facebook, I think that video went in excess of 20-something thousand views. That we did it because this school, I think it is important to not just the territory of Virgin Islands, but this is the only school on the island of Just Van Dyke for the people of Just Van Dyke. And to have it in this condition in excess of 3 years, it is unacceptable. And while being unacceptable, I must take the time to recognize, to appreciate, and applaud Principal Laverne Blyden Henry. Principal, if you would come forward. You know I'm going to put you on the spot because that's just what I do when I do what I do. You're going to cuss me for this after. I want you to come next to me. I have a hard time getting close to her now that she's married, but I understand why. But Principal, I want to say on behalf of the people of the 2nd District, on behalf of this territory, on behalf of the Just Van Dyke community, you and your teachers, all educators here at the Just Van Dyke Primary School, I want everyone, if you could take the time to stand and give Principal Blyden and her staff a round of applause because it is well deserving. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for your sacrifice. I want to say thank you for always going above and beyond the call of duty. I will never forget after Irma, when I came, I think the first time with the governor on the helicopter, and then I came first on the speedboat, then I came with the governor on the helicopter. And it was 3 or 4 days after I came back. And I came into the school and I saw Principal Blyden going through the rubbish. And I said, "Woman, what are you doing?" She says, "I have to do something because the students are going to be dependent on me." And from that day to now, her and her staff continue to go above and beyond. I know there may not be monies in the budget, but if there's any principal and staff in this territory that deserve a raise, that deserve monies beyond what you can expect, it is Principal Laverne Blyden and the entire staff here at the Just Van Dyke Primary School, because on any other day, any other opportunity, you couldn't get me working here. As much as I like children, because she goes and she does what needs to be done. So Principal, again, I say thank you. We love you and we appreciate you. You can cry in the car and cuss me later. Thank you, Principal Blyden. Now, as it relates to the school grounds, we had in 2017, I think going right into 2018, the beginning of 2018, an agreement was made with the then Minister of Health and the then Minister of Education surrounding the school. And now we fast forward to the Virgin Islands government, Virgin Islands party government being elected. And the Premier, again, he was privy to the conversations because we were having that dialogue in terms of what needed to happen. The community meetings were had. The community have made up their mind several times as regards to where we wanted the school to be located. I think in politics and the administrative process of running a country, the most important voice is that of the people. And I shared it with the Minister of Education at that time, and I shared it with him even before we had the meeting. But then the people spoke once again at the meeting to say where they wanted the school. And I believe once the people have spoken, all the intelligence that you have, all the consultancies that you want to do, I think if you go against the will of the people, you will always have a problem. So I'm happy to see that the government have agreed and come in line with the people to have the school located on the hillside to avoid some of the issues that we've been having here on the island of Justin Dyke. I am grateful to Mr. McCall, Ashton McCall, who's also responsible for the design and drawing for the Eunice Adams Primary School, which I understand that this school is going to be mirrored against, but specifically to fit Justin Dyke and to fit the contours of the land here on the hillside. It is important that from 2016 till now, it has been my cry and my plea that we, one, rebuild the school on Just Van Dyke, and two, have the Just Van Dyke School be renamed in honor of an educator, because it is the only school within the territory that has not been renamed and has the name and bears the name of the island or the community in which it stands. So I know, and I want to thank the Premier for when he tell you he gonna do something, he gonna do it. And all he's telling me he come in and he gonna come, and with Mitch when I say come in, let's go. And I have to respect that about the Honorable Premier, because outside of the politics, outside of the trouble and the headaches I will cause him in the House of Assembly, which is my job, he will tell you any day of the week, he is my big brother, and I seemingly have gotten in his way the relationship between my mother and him, but the respect the respect is always there nonetheless. And I want to say on behalf of the people of Just Van Dyke, this is a step in the right direction. I must say, however, that this is the design phase for the project. In the budget, we see that the project will extend all the way to 2023, but knowing the Premier, I know he's going to find a way with my good friend and brother, the Minister of Education, to shorten the time so that we can have this school rebuilt for the people of Just Van Dyke. But I am all in all happy to serve as your representative, to continue to be your voice and lay your concerns on the table and represent you to the best of my ability. I'm also happy that the Ashton McCall and his team, Mr. Butcher and his team, are here with us today, and the people of the community of Just Van Dyke are here to see what is the start for something that's going to be tremendous and is going to transform the educational facilities for the people, for the students and the parents of Just Van Dyke. So on behalf of my family, on behalf of the people of the 2nd District here in Just Van Dyke and the wider Virgin Islands community, I say thank you. I say season's greetings, and this is a good way to end the year as we begin. And I know the Premier is going to say it, but because the 1st and the 2nd are so closely connected, and this is my district, he won't mind me stealing some thunder, because he know another one of the buildings that I've been lobbying and making noise for, even before his tenure, is the Ports building, which is going to be dedicated on a little later in this day. So I am grateful. There's some work that has been going on, and I am grateful to represent. I will be the voice. I will continue to agitate. I will continue to ensure that the works is done, and this government is doing it and working alongside me. I know Honorable Kairema and Calvin Malone, they want me to sing out everything, but I have a job to do, and I can't do your job as well. So thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Turnbull. Better days are ahead for the people of Just Van Dyke. We are grateful. So as I said earlier, we are blessed to have our territorial representatives, 3 of them here. Apologies for Honorable Neville Smith, who has another Good Samaritan activity on Tortola at this time. So we are going to invite Honorable Calvin Malone, followed by Honorable Shireen Flax Charles and Honorable Shari De Castro to come and bring greetings to the people of Just Van Dyke.
Yes, I extend a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Protocol has been ably established and re-established, so I adopt the protocols that have been established and say thank you for being here. And to the wider public, I think that I stood yesterday at another event in Virgin Gorda, the opening of the Village Rose Center, and I started by saying this is indeed the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice, we are rejoicing, and we are glad in it. I can say the same thing here, that when we look at the fact of the confidence that we have to have in our communities, private and public, we have gone through floods of 2017. We've gone through hurricanes September 6th and September 20th, 2017. And now we are in the throes of the 3rd wave of a pandemic. We have to have quite a bit of confidence in order for us to go through this and still carry on with the kind of investments that we must continue to make for the people of the Virgin Islands. And when you involve public and private, those who have donated their resources, be it in terms of monetary kind, or just in person, just assisting, like the efforts that you go above and beyond the call of duty, as the president, as the principal, and as the representatives of the people of the 2nd District. We must give God thanks for, I think the word was used yesterday, stick-to-itiveness, sticking to it, making sure that it happens. So I'd like to give ourselves a big round of applause for thus far, giving God thanks for how far He has brought us. We can give God a bigger applause than that. Yes, I thought so. It is critical to know, and then, just to get a feel, because at times we tend to overlook the simple things of life. All of the teachers that have to work along with the principal, all of the effort in terms of getting the parents that they have to endure in terms of getting the kids ready, getting them in a frame of mind. And in a time when you look at a Ministry of Health and Social Development and the many aspects that we have to go through, because I did the whole research in terms of the 5 basic needs that a person would have, the psychological needs, those of food and shelter and clothing and water and sleep, the safety needs, the social needs, and the esteem needs, and the self-actualization needs. These are studies that have been done. These are things that people talk about. And in the Ministry of Health and Social Development, we have had to deal with almost all of these. It is a people-centered ministry. We have from birth to everything that comes in between, and indeed the schooling, preparing a nation for the other stage of life, the generation next, the generation that would take its rightful place in making sure that the Virgin Islands that we brave about, talk about, happy about, live in, continue to grow and prosper, not only in terms of physical terms, but in terms of making sure that the environment for schools and studies and living is all kept to par so that the next generation survives and keep this moving. I am quite mindful of the amount of work that has gone into this, the thought process, and I would like to thank the Honorable Premier, the Honorable Minister for Education, the District Rep, and the actual contracting team for all of the efforts that they have brought together so far in making this a reality, making sure that this step is taken. Just in terms of summary, we have the waste management program, and the transfer station is being rebuilt. We know we have the steel structures over there. The actual siding will come, and we would rebuild that. We would purchase a compactor bin, and we'll look in terms of the complete recycling program, the 7 R's, in terms of the housing recovery unit. In addition to some of the temporary housing that we've had, we have recently signed for the construction of funding of 6 social homes, 5 rebuild grant, and a number of repair projects that we've signed onto, in addition to some of the material grants that we will have to look into. The ministry have passed the Nursing and Midwives Act, and it will also pass the Medical Amendment Act, the Red Cross Act, and the Tobacco Products Control Act. All of these influence lives and influence livelihoods. We want you to continue to be mindful that we are in a period of a global pandemic. It is not slowing down. It is fast. It is actually building steam, closing down first world, second world, and third world countries. We have to be mindful to adhere to all of the protocols established to keep all of us safe. It is important for us to do, and I think that we cannot get weary in well-doing. We have to keep lives in order to sustain livelihoods. So thank you very much again, and I say this is a great day, a positive day, a blessed day for Jocelyn Dyke, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Malone. Honorable Flax-Charles.
Good afternoon. I acknowledge the protocol established. Good day, people of Jocelyn Dyke. I must admit, as beautiful as this island is, I may not get to visit as often as I would like to. But every day that I am here, I am honored by the love and support that my people show me. As a sister island resident myself, I am well aware of the uniqueness of living away from the main island of Tortola. And yet we persevere. We continue to grow and prosper because we are immovable and unstoppable. our islands remain gems in the crown of this lovely territory, unbeatable destinations that add beauty and culture to the experience of our tourists and the richness and character to the very fabric of Virgin Islands life. Unfortunately, sometimes we allow ourselves to forget the importance of our sister islands because they may not be as in your face as the development of industries on Tortola. But as we speak about building the British Virgin Islands back even better and stronger than it was before, there must be a direct priority on the rebirth of our sister islands. Your government is keenly aware of this need and has committed itself to directing massive emphasis towards the sister islands. More than ever before, we understand how critical it is that the Virgin Islands, all of the Virgin Islands, from the largest mainstay to the smallest islet, must unify and grow as a singular body with a shared purpose and future. Your government also understands a deeper and more significant reality. Hurricanes Irma and Maria and the most recent pandemic of COVID-19 have taught us that investment into infrastructure, diversification, and development across the board are futile if we do not first make the most noble and necessary investment that a nation can have, and that's its people. For as long as I can remember, the people of Jasper and Dyke have faced the already difficult challenge of educating, compounding on by a lack of sufficient resources to do so in a way that results in students that are capable and competitive. Of course, they still manage to triumph, educating their youth despite the many challenges and sometimes neglect that they had to struggle against. Today, your government begins a series of developmental projects which will place all Jasper and Dyke children and youth in a superior position. With this facility, no longer will they be playing a game already in the place of second best. They will have at their fingertips all that they need to learn the mysteries of science, the allure of the arts, and the practicality of trades that build our developing nation. We are rebuilding the schools, sparing no expense to ensure that our students have every opportunity to be incredible leaders of industry, so that in decades to come, there will be generations of leaders with no limits to their power. Today, I want to publicly dedicate myself not only to the younger people of Jasper and Dyke, but to all children across our beautiful Virgin Islands. In each and every one of you lies the future of our home. It doesn't lie in the hands of elected officials like myself. We lead today. We serve today at the behest of the people of our districts. But like all mankind, our abilities to impact is limited chiefly to today. Tomorrow is yours. It is your bravery, compassion, creativity that will decide our future as a destination, as a jurisdiction with which to trade, as a nation in general. As we lead today, all that we can do is secure tomorrow to invest in you. With efforts like this contract signing, that is what your government is showing itself willing to do to the best of our ability. So if you are old enough to understand responsibility, please know that we are counting on you for return on this investment. After this contract signing, then comes the first stages of building. Let no step taken here today or in the next couple of months go to waste. Before I end, I must say a thank you to all of the educators of this island. Your challenges have been enormous, and yet you have still produced tremendous results, keeping our children safe and educated. I pray that this facility will lend itself to a heightening of your efforts, and that we will continue to see bigger and better things from this little island. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Flax Charles. Another female legislator, Miss De Castro, will come now at this time.
Good afternoon to the awesome people of Just Van Dyke. It is truly my privilege and honor to be here alongside the Premier and the Deputy Premier and all members present today. We often realize, I think one of the most powerful things for me today is that I am appreciative that I am among a team of individuals who understand that education is the foundation of any territory or country. If you look at our team, you would realize that we actually have 4 educators on our team. The Honorable Premier, the Deputy Premier, the Minister for Natural Resources and Labor, and myself, all of whom have sat and taught in the classroom at some point in our lives. And therefore, we truly understand the need to ensure that our children learn in an environment that is conducive, that will help them to advance their academic achievements. So today for me, I believe, I feel a sense of pride as a Virgin Islander first and foremost, because as an educator, I know that Principal Blyden Henry and the entire staff has been doing a lot and working miracles with a little. We know that little is much when God is in it, but it doesn't negate the fact that every child should have the tools and resources necessary to truly believe and foresee the dreams that they wish to achieve. I believe the most heartwarming thing for me is that today, though this is just the design phase, it's the first phase, and it is proof of our government's commitment to ensure that no sister island is left behind. We say BVI love, and we truly mean it. BVI love is our children, and BVI love means no island left behind. I want to say a special thank you to the people of Just Van Dyke for the patience that you have shown through the years, especially since the hurricanes, because I too, as an educator, just looking at the conditions, I understand that you would have been working in less than the best. But when I look at the creativity of the principal and the staff, I see that Principal Blyden Henry recently posted some photos of an appreciation dinner that you had. And just looking at the title of it, I see you. And what she did with it just speaks to the level of creativity and innovation that exists on this island. And the last thing that I want to leave with you, as I congratulate you and continue to tell you to press forward as we move towards your new school, is that oftentimes as an educator we can think of a pencil. And it's one of the things even in politics now that I continue to think of. When I think of a pencil, I'm reminded that there's a point to it all. And I believe that this government has sincerely shown, when you look at a pencil, you could break it in half, you could get 2 points. So breaking it isn't necessarily a bad thing, or no matter the size of it, once you can sharpen it, which is a bit difficult at times, you'll get to the point. And I believe today, Just Van Dyke, we've gotten to the point, and we're going to push this initiative forward and ensure that you, the people of the Just Van Dyke, get the school that is necessary to ensure that the next premier, the next deputy premier, the next architect, engineer, and so forth, that comes from Just Van Dyke will have all the necessary tools and the infrastructure necessary to achieve their wildest dreams. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sharidi Castro. We are indeed pushing forward. We're going to break from the speaking right now, and we're going to move to the contract signing ceremony. And immediately after the contract signing ceremony, we are going to hear from Mr. Butcher, and we're going to hear from Mr. Neil Smith, who I need to apologize. I omitted you at the beginning, from the RDA. The RDA is very critical to this project because they're going to be managing the project for the Ministry of Education. So we are happy to have Mr. Smith. Should have come over with us this morning, but I am glad that he is here. You know, as Honorable DeCash was speaking, I'm really happy that we're making progress. Miss Stevens and I took a walk down the road early this morning, and when we came, we went down by a building down there, and the young ladies asked us why we were here, and we told them. They said, "Oh, finally we're going to get a school," and we said yes. And then the young lady looked at me and she said, "You were here when we had the ceremony up on the hill for the community center." No, that was when I was in the Ministry of Health and Social Development chairing that ceremony. Many years ago, and I didn't think she would have remembered me from all those years. So I'm saying, my God have mercy. So let her remember me with this one here. That we are going to make progress and that we are making a step. But I was really shocked when she asked me that question this morning, because I remember standing over there on the site chairing a ceremony several years ago. But we are making progress. So, Premier is going to be signing the contract on behalf of the government of the Virgin Islands. His signature will be witnessed by Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs and Fisheries, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley. Mr. David Butcher will be signing on behalf of AEC Consultant Engineering Limited. And Honorable Turnbull, we will ask you to witness his signature, please, since you have a hand in this project. All right? Okay.
Oh, there we go. Yes, 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 yes. Boy, I tell you. Did it? Yeah, I have it. That's the first one you're trying in 6 years.
The first one with Albert Missionary. It was under this administration.
Oh, see? That's good. No, 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 no. No, no. Once you got things, keep it right.
You know where you come from, brother?
Yeah, let's do it. Richard, but did it just sign in?
Yes, I was trying to get behind you, taking a picture of Mitch,
Yeah, this,
and you just
yeah,
finished.
this picture.
All right. Don't worry, I got it.
Gavin, don't try too hard enough.
No, no, I tried.
As soon as I'm done here, I turn her back on you. I ain't giving you no ease. No. You can't win all.
That's all? Okay. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for signing the contract, and from here forward, we're full speed ahead, Mr. Butcher. So, the RDA, I said, plays a critical role with this project moving forward. The Director of Program Strategy is Mr. Neil Smith, and he's here with us this afternoon. So, Mr. Smith, we ask you to come at this time and give remarks on behalf of the RDA. Welcome him as he comes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to recognize the protocol that was already established. There's a lot of ministers here, almost the whole government. So, yes, exactly, and that is one of the points I wanted to make in Just Van Dyke. I think it's important to note that very clearly the Premier is demonstrating his commitment to this project, and I think it's quite frankly a very rare thing to see a Premier bring his entire cabinet to a function and into a sister island at that. So, Chief, yes, I call you, press on regardless, and so I think we should all be very pleased that there is this commitment that no island will be left behind. That's clearly demonstrated today. The Honorable De Castro stole some of my thunder, so I'll skip that part. But today, yeah, stick to Mother's Chief, yes. The RDA's involvement in this project is slightly different to what we normally have. Normally, the government would put us off to do a project, and we go ahead and we get it done, and we bring it back to the ministry. In this particular project, and consistent with our capacity building mandate, this project will be in the ministry, and the RDA will be supporting the ministry. So as we know, the RDA has as part of its mandate a capacity building strategy, and this is actually part of this, because it would be ridiculous, and I know the Premier wouldn't let us get away with this, is that when the RDA disappears, if we are no better off than where we started, that is not wrong. And as an educator, I know he won't let us get away with it at all. So this is what we're doing. This is one of the 4 steps that we're taking. And the Ministry of Education, and I think fittingly so, has been one of the first ministries to actually do a project in this manner. So Minister, Deputy Premier, thank you for that, leading from the front as usual. So in addition, I must say on behalf of the CEO and the Board of Directors at the RDA that we'll continue to support the government of the Virgin Islands in its mandate. And we'll move swiftly ahead. To date, we're over 20 million in projects going, and we intend to finish the portfolio of projects that the Premier gave us as soon as time as possible. That is what we do, fast, on time, and budget. The end game is that in the end, the BVI people would have been better off than they were in 2017. We have a lot of capacity in the BVI, but we want to make it so that we don't need to import anyone to do any project that we have. And I believe that we're well on that way under the guidance of the Premier here. He supported us very strongly, and I believe that, Chief, you deserve a round of applause for not only doing that, but for demonstrating to the people of Just Van Dyke that they're just as important as every other island in the Virgin Islands. Okay? So thank you again, and Chief, congratulations to this. I believe that in a few months we'll have a building up there. And P.S., you won't be embarrassed this time. Okay? You won't be embarrassed this time. Okay? We should be beginning this project sometime early next year, actually putting stuff in the ground. Depend on Mr. Butcher, obviously, but we'll put a lot of fire under him. And then from then, it depends on what the design looks like, but I suspect in a couple of months after that, the project will be finished. But let me let the people deal with that one. Okay. All right, so thank you very much, Chief. Congratulations for a job well done.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. The fire has already been lit, Mr. Butcher.
Yes, sir.
And now you got to get a pot cooking. So, as the minister mentioned earlier, we are working with Mr. Ashton McCall and Mr. Butcher on this project. Mr. McCall, unfortunately, could not be here today after making adjustments to his schedule to accommodate us last week. So, but we know he is going to be working diligently. And so, Mr. Butcher, representing AEC Consulting Engineering Limited, we invite you at this point in time to come and give your remarks, please.
A very pleasant afternoon to everyone. The protocol has in fact been well established. However, just before I say that, I'm going to give brief remarks on behalf of Ashton McCall and myself. Ashton is the lead architect and I am the lead engineer. As was mentioned earlier, Ashton couldn't make it this afternoon, and he deeply apologizes for that. He would have loved to be here. Honorable Andrew Foy, Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Natalia Wheatley, Minister of Education, Culture. Sorry, just let me take this. This mask is getting in the way. So the Honorable Andrew Foy, Minister of Finance, the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, Minister of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries and Agriculture, Honorable Representative of the 2nd District, Melvin Turnbull, other most honorable members present, including the Speaker, distinguished representatives from the Ministry of Education, principal and staff of the Jos Van Dyke Primary School, distinguished guests, members of the 2nd District, ladies and gentlemen. As I said earlier, a very pleasant afternoon to all of you. I'll first read Ashton's short remarks to you. Ashton said, "My apologies for not being able to attend, but I would like to thank the government of the Virgin Islands, the Recovery and Development Agency, and the community of Jos Van Dyke for their confidence in our ability to successfully execute this project. I pledge to deliver a design that will not only be functional, but will provide an environmentally friendly and safe place for learning and recreation. The completion of this project will signify a turning point in the educational system, and the development of the children of Jos Van Dyke, who will soon have a state-of-the-art facility to foster their learning, and I am proud to be a part of this important project. Thank you and best wishes for the holidays." It is not a coincidence that education and foundation sound similar. In fact, education is the bedrock of any developing and developed society. While it may be regarded as a lifelong practice, its beginnings are crucial in creating that base upon which sustainable progress can be built. We at AEC Consulting Engineers Limited are extremely happy in partnering with all the stakeholders in providing a facility from which future progressive minds shall emerge. This Jos Van Dyke Primary School will be testament to the vision and confidence of the government of the people of the British Virgin Islands and the people of the 2nd District. On behalf of the entire team, let me again thank you for this opportunity. Good afternoon.
The architect and the engineer have spoken. Everyone else has spoken. The only person you should expect to hear from now is a commander-in-chief. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome the Premier as he comes to conclude this ceremony with his remarks. Premier.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair Lady and Permanent Secretary. First of all, I'd like to say let's give God a round of applause. I recognize the protocol that already established, including my lovely wife and daughter. Won't forget them. It wouldn't be wise. And along with our PS here and the honorable members, my PS also from the Premier's office, who is also the agency where the RDA is housed and works well with them. I also recognize her. She was recognized already in the protocols, but I have to recognize her because you never forget your PSs. But as I stand here today, reflecting on years of relationship with the Jocelyn Dyke people. Miss Tessa could attest to this, that my mother actually raised a lot of children that came from Jocelyn Dyke, that came over to go to school, scores of them. And I even had to give up my bed and sleep inside by my mom on the floor sometimes, not sometimes for the school year, to accommodate them. And up to this day, all of them and us get along like sisters and brothers. So when I meet them, I don't greet them as the Premier of the Virgin Islands. I greet them as their brother and their sister, and they WhatsApp me. They tell me when they are pleased, and they WhatsApp me and they tell me when they're not pleased. So while some persons, when they hear the people from Jocelyn Dyke speak, and they are passionate people, but they are also a loving people, but sometimes their passion can be mistaken as something we would say in the context of rude. I don't see it that way, because my history with them is so long that I know the full nature of their DNA. So for me, I just see it as passion. And with that in mind, I take it for what it is. Want to see the best for Jocelyn Dyke. I know as Premier, when I became Premier of the Virgin Islands, through the people of the 1st District, God allowed them to put me in and vote in the other persons, that it was quite an awesome task that you were taking up. In a time when we are still recovering from Irma and Maria, no funding secured as yet, documents to be signed that probably could give away our future if we don't get the correct terms and conditions. And right when we tried to get that going, came COVID-19, among many other challenges. So to say that it has been a smooth ride at any given time, the answer is no. But to say that I'm going to cry about it as Premier, the answer is also no. You sign up for it. And in the army, as one my good friend, the Minister of Health, always said, don't be crying and coming out of your foxhole every time some shots are fired. You sign up for it. And when we sign up for this, and I remember that we had some meetings with the Minister of Education came over with the district rep. And I want you to notice something very clearly, and the district rep said it. We do not disrespect anyone in their district. I was in the opposition for years, and I know how that felt. And I told persons that I would not do it. Yes, we're the government. And yes, the representative has his job to do. And he has to push to see how far he can get. When he passed the limit, it's my job to tell him, that's as far as you could go. We'll take it from here. But not in a bad way. And he is correct. His mom helped raise me, and it's when she, I got pregnant with him, and then she moved back to Kingadamy. And that's what he means that I said that I took his mom from him. He took his mom away from me. Sorry. So the connection is very close. So no matter how much he shouts and behaves in the house at times, I forgive him because of his mom. Because I know he comes from good stock. And he has to do what he has to do for the people. Because I know Kingadamy people are kind people. My godfather was the late Honorable Ivan Dawson, and every summer when I was younger, I had to go to Kingadamy with him and sell in the shop Evergreen. So I get to know the people from Kingadamy very well. So I know that in his genes, in his DNA, is a good person. He's just passionate, and sometimes when he looks back, and I can't blame him, and he sees the neglect that Jocelyn Dyke has experienced over the years, and he hears that we're going to do something, it's only natural for him to say that he ain't studying these people. You heard a rightful PS here. The PS said that the young lady met her, and she said, I know you. You're the lady that stood on the hill for the launching of the community center. I even don't remember that. And I'm in politics a while, so that I can tell you. But my conclusion from that safely right now is that the community center wasn't built. And when you look and see the many promises for a school, I agree with everything the rep said. The staff here must be commended and give them another round of applause. And the school, you correct me if I'm wrong, my people from Jocelyn Dyke. It didn't just start speaking about since Oma, after Oma. It was being spoken about according to the Beijing and them for years. Now, one thing you can say is that with this government, I thank my members. The Minister of Education said it best. Don't worry about my health. I pronounce good health for me in the atmosphere in Jesus' name. So don't worry about that, Deputy Premier. But when you're behind, you have to run fast. Or else you remain behind the person who's in front. And if you don't run fast, you're not going to get to your purpose. And you can't take on the majority all the time. When I'm in Jocelyn Dyke, I'm at home. And I want to give you a little story because my village, we learn from parables and stories. So if you can't understand them and analyze them, you can't live in the first district. But this is a very true story. They had a big prayer meeting years ago. I don't think that I was out of high school yet, based on the year they told me. Big prayer meeting in one of our sister islands, I won't name the one. And the pastor said we're going to have an all-night prayer meeting. And he said when the time comes to pray, he wants everyone praying for the country and praying for your family and what you need. At that time, they told me there was a vicious drought. There was no rain. Not a drop of rain. So, of course, everybody started to pray. And they were praying for rain. Everyone in the church just about was praying for rain. And the pastor said, pray to the top of your voice. And everyone is praying. And this one man, he started to pray to God for it not to rain. But nobody knew what he was praying because everybody was praying at the same time. But you know, some people can't pray and sustain it. It's not the length of the prayer, but some people pray a little thing and they get tired and they stop. So as they drop off and drop off and drop off, the only voice was there was a gentleman who was praying not for rain. And when everyone listened to him, he didn't even realize everyone stopped praying. They turned for him. What stupidness you praying? How could you be praying in the church? So the gentleman stopped and they ridiculed him to the point where he left the prayer meeting. Come to find out that the gentleman's only income was a water truck. And that's the only way he could have feed his family. So he wasn't praying for no rain from a bad hat. He was praying for it from a need to feed his family economically. And when I heard that story, it's a true story. You research it, it happened in one of our sister islands. The gentleman is still living now. He's very old, but still living. And when you listen to those stories, it tells you that you cannot always listen to the majority. And you must always listen to person's perspective, even if they're in the minority. Because Moses listened to the majority, but it took him 40 years to get in to what was promised to him, and he didn't make it. When you look and see at the life of this government, I'm going somewhere, Justin, like, so you could get some confidence, because I know that you haven't experienced love for a long time. So when love comes, you ridicule it and you put it under a microscope, and you should. But a man's track record must speak for something. So Windy, you listen well. When we took office, the Elmo Stout High School L-shaped building, we were told that it cannot be built until the next year, even attempted to be built. And the funding would be an issue, and it wouldn't be accessible until the following year, which means that they would have not gotten into the building probably until fall of this year or into the next year, 2021. That is what was on paper. And the Minister of Education, I sat down and I said, Minister, we're going to get it built. And the people of the children of the Virgin Islands will be in that building by September. Could you recall, if you recall, I went on the news and said it, and there was a lot of talk shows said this fellow is stone crazy. Cannot happen. And I told them, don't worry about that. And we did an unconventional thing that was ridiculed, said that it cannot be transparent. And we gave each contractor a floor. And we got some help from the very CDB, RDA, and everyone. Premier's office, Ministry of Education, everyone came together. Can I tell you, by September, the school was ready and the lights went on, and there was not a more beautiful sight than that. We're talking about track record, so that the people at Jocelyn could know that this isn't no gimmick, as we say in our language. Then let's look at the same school going up by the hill. Remember, you said that a community center was going there. I don't know about that, but I learned that today from Sister Carolyn in the Ministry of Education. And it's always good. Education is supposed to educate us. But if you remember well, that was under the Ministry of Health. And after the meeting, the minister came and we had a caucus, and we said we have to do what's best for Jocelyn Dyke. The people have spoken. And the rep is right. The voice of the people is the voice of God. So we went and we asked the Minister of Health to shift that community center somewhere else, and we will try to design it to accommodate a multi-purpose facility until then, so that we can get the hill. I want to tell you what was happening in the background, what you cannot see, like a road or a wall or a school building. So we now had to swap the land and get it from the Ministry of Health. And the minister and his PS, Sister Patrona and all of them, they went to town. And our whole government, we carried it, took it to cabinet and had it approved. That took a little while to do, because there was a lot of other work, technical work, that had to be done. So I want to give the Minister of Health and his team a round of applause. But I want to say something to just show you about the history of the government that you have. We might not have it all together, but together we have it all. Mr. Smith said in the RDA they have now up to $20 million in project. And Mr. Smith can tell you that the $20 million came since this administration sat and told the CDB, this is how we're going to spend our money, and we want mostly our local contractors to qualify. Now we can't say who will qualify, but the process allows for our local contractors to be part of the qualifying of personnel to do the projects. And I thank the PS under the Premier's office and our RDA, because today now they're up to $20 million of projects circulating in our economy as a result. So let's give the Premier office and the RDA a round of applause. Before that, the CDB sat in the office of the Premier, and they can tell you, they say we have no direction, and we need to get a direction because we're only paying your tax money, we're going back for the loan, just in interest, with no physical project on the ground. So that now we had to move towards getting that done. These are backdoor things that happen that you don't see. That takes a lot of meetings, a lot of writing, a lot of communication. So I'm going somewhere with it. When we were finished with that, we had a meeting over here in Johnson Dykes. I think the date was October 22nd. If I'm not mistaken, it was a Thursday. I remember the date very good because the Thursday morning, I got in a little squall. My wife had forget to do something, so I remember it's Thursday the 22nd of October. That's how I remember it. And we came over here and we held the public meeting with the representative. And we stated to Johnson like a few things. And I don't want this stage. I want you, the people of Johnson Dykes, while you're listening, to bawl out. I ain't say. Bawl out and tell me, Premier, that's not so. And if it is so, tell me, Premier, it is so. So we live. None of you have been rehearsed, right, Tessa? Good. Did we have the meeting on October 22nd? That is so. That is so. Thank you for saying so. In that meeting, we discussed many things. One of them was to make sure that we come back with a design for the new school. Is that so? Are we back here? In that meeting, we also say, Wendy is asking for the design. Well, if we sign in to do it, we can't give it to you till it's done do. That's why we sign in today, to do it. Good. When you get your press conference, you say what you want, Wendy. It is mine now. And when we get going with this project, we came back here now with a design to sign. They're going to modify the Enos Adams building, and we put it up in the hill. We also talk about some donors, and this weekend on Saturday morning I woke up early and had a meeting with one of the main affiliates of the main donor. And he said, the gentleman said he's still on target for the people of Johnson Dykes. As soon as you finish with the design and as soon as you finish with the costing, we will click in. And he said, I don't want to get in any public snafu, so keep my name quiet. Until that time, I do what I have to do, and then I come out, and they have already been checked as a legitimate donor. Now we need to celebrate today. Some say, why do we come here signing a contract today? We have no school. But the last time I checked, when a woman is pregnant, they have a shower. The child ain't born yet, but they have a shower. The reason that you have a shower is the expectation that greatness is coming forth. And you celebrate the greatness that's coming forth. So we now are pregnant with the designs. And we come to hold our public shower so that we can get you, the people on board, to expect that when it's finished, that what will be brought on the hill in Johnson Dykes is your new school, and also to be able to do other things. And this government never got a child that it didn't own. So nobody should worry about supporting it. And when we look and see, the rep can tell you these things, that under the Albert Shinnery administration building that it was out there dangling. And the rep can tell you that under this administration for Johnson Dyke again, that we completed it. We named it. We even put the rep back on the board and let it meet for sure. Not just in a little name thing, but it actually was meeting. And he had a hand in the whole thing. And now Johnson Dykes have the Albert Shinnery administration building since his administration's here. But let's go a little further. I need to show it because I want the people to know that we didn't get everything done in Johnson Dykes as yet. But to say that we ain't do nothing, I can't take that. Because now there are about 4 homes. How many homes, Minister Help? 6 homes. Since 2017, homes was to be repaired and built through the housing program. None until now. Now we have 6 homes signed. And if I'm not mistaken, ready just about to start the construction. In different phases here in Johnson Dykes. I don't think you heard me. 6 homes have been signed. 6 people that was not in good condition since Hurricane Irma is now in better condition. And you're building and rebuilding them. The Minister of Health will give you more of that when he goes over to the next project. Could you remember what you had after Irma and before to board the ferry? I didn't hear anything because it's something you need to forget. But when we go after this ceremony, the next ceremony, a multi-purpose building, and I won't say much more than that because the 2nd District rep stole a little of the thunder, but he can do that. That's my brother. And then when we look, let us get into our other area, the paving of the Dog Hole Road. I remember when I come over there, I came over the boat with a good friend of mine. She came for the day. And we went by Dog Hole Road. I'd feel so bad. She in the car. That's right before COVID. She said, "Fine, and deliver." And that was just coming out of Dog Hole. Now we see the paving of the Dog Hole Road. You need to say these things because while some say we come for the school, we come for many more things. Because we can't get all done, but I'm not going to be branded as we got nothing done. Not our government. But other than the Dog Hole Road, we promised the people of Johnson Dyke that they will not be left out of the stimulus. And we have made sure that as many businesses as possible have received stimulus. It couldn't pay for all, but it's the best that we could have done at this time. All the expenses, but it was something. You're welcome. Somebody said thank you. That's rare. And we made sure that the fishermen, and they're continuing to get more stimulus, because we're printing all the time, got their stimulus. It couldn't do everything, but it's something. And we made sure the farmers here in Johnson Dykes get their stimulus. Couldn't do everything, but it is something to start to get you going. I say all those things because what credential do we have to make you believe that we're going to build a school? The credential that we have is our track record. Because nobody truly ever knows anyone. I'm not a conventional premier. It's not a conventional speech I just give. When you're going to marry someone, you marry them based on their track record and hope they don't change. That's why Percy Sledge says, take time to know them. It's not an overnight thing. And now that you come here, I know, and we're coming together and we told you we'll do these things. And let's not forget the road that's going over the hill there now. That for over 15 years, persons couldn't get over that road, that back road. And now it has been graded, opened, with more work to do by the Minister of Transport. Let's give him a round of applause. And we're working on the water problems. And even while working on the water problems, we give out some money to the Minister of Transport to truck over water for those who didn't have water. Hello? So I want to come to say these things because Jos Van Dyke, Vojingara, and Igara, the days of them being ignored, gone. It cannot be that we in the same BVI and Tatola get a garbage truck and when they could barely move and send it to Vojingara, and when it could crawl, you send it and Igara, and it can't move at all, you send it Jos Van Dyke. Those days are gone. When you get your press conference, you say what all you want. I mind. We will continue. We can't do everything one time. And when you don't get nothing for years, I can understand your frustration. Because you want everything now and your way. But this is not Burger King. We have limited resources and we're trying to do more with the less that we have, that every island has. And then the last thing that I will bring forward is that we already do the first reading on the e-government. Wow, Windy say yeah, oh my. Which means that when we pass those e-government legislation, while you are here sitting down, you will now have the opportunity to pay your land tax, your house tax, whatever transaction or document you have to fill out with government, you can do it from right here in Jos Van Dyke, and you won't have to catch the boat, as we say, go to Atola, and hear the person will deal with it on lunch. You won't have to see that anymore. Some people in Tatola tell me I shouldn't have said that. It's the truth. Sometimes people in Tatola take for granted what Sister Island people have to go through to come down to do business. And I'm speaking to them to make sure that put certain measures in place for them and the banks that when they come, they have false preference. Because you think it's easy getting up to catch an early morning ferry with a Jos Van Dyke, Vojingara and Igara to come to Tatola, spend money to get a little breakfast, and have to spend money to catch a taxi. Then when you reach where you're going to hear they're either out for lunch or some document that you had called for before, they didn't tell you about, and you don't have it, and then they tell you have to come back tomorrow. If you live Tatola, come back tomorrow is easy. But when you live Jos Van Dyke, Vojingara and Igara, come back tomorrow is not easy. And then before you know it, you go to the bank and they take you up all day. And you're trying to beg somebody to let you get ahead of them and they're grumbling. And then before you know it, sometime even if you finish with the bank, you have to run, come out to catch a ferry to come back. That's why we're going in this e-government. And that's why we're putting more services here. And if you want to hear more about the services, when this ceremony is paused, because this ceremony will not be over today, we're pausing it because it's going into the building of the school. Exactly, no, you understand. And when this ceremony goes over by the ports building, you will hear the multiplicity of government services that will have to come here now and be here so they can do business here, so that you can do business in Jos Van Dyke and don't have to leave. That's innovation. And that's a government working for its people. But I want to tell you about one more thing. Because they have no ferry leaving now, so we have time, so sit down and listen. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands, part of under the Ministry of Finance, has made sure that they move towards now putting the ATH machine, ATM, ATH, the machine where you take your money out of. And we have already approved in cabinet through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labor, which I thank the minister for, the spot and the land. Well, it's where we have land. So we're going to put it where we have land until we could do better. But we ain't put it at all, it's going to be a problem. But I want to find out, is there any contractor here who put in a bid yet? Or been contacted? Or I see them here, 2 of them raise their hand. So I'm not speaking out of tail and out of school. So the bids are going in to see now which one will qualify to build the machinery. 4 total bid contracts. The district representative corrected his brother. Because he's watching. I don't know if he's happy, but he's watching. So now, in a few weeks' time, once all goes well, they will select the contractor and it will be built. And guess what? You don't have to come to Toronto Motortech to get any money. The machine is right there. That's innovation. That's your government working for the people on all sister islands, especially Jocelyn Dyke. That is true BVI love. Well, once you don't have to leave Jocelyn Dykes, wherever feet are told pay for not leaving, you have to pay too. But that is true BVI love. I just said these things here because we have a lot more things to do in Jocelyn Dykes. But I just stopped by to tell you, in case nobody didn't tell you, that I know how you feel not being loved for so many years. But only love knows love. So you know that your government love you because we've been consistent with what we tell you we're going to do and when. And when we can't do it, we told you that we can't do that right now. So we've been honest with you. Now I know that some people don't recognize what has been done and they move on to the next thing, what has not been done, and they never even say, well, at least this has been done. But the beauty of me as your premier is that I don't stay attached to people. I love them. But once you're living, you stay attached to purpose. Because if you stay attached to people, your feelings will get hurt depending on what they say. But if you stay attached to purpose, you'll never get your feelings hurt as long as you stay clear and true and laser focused on the purpose God placed you on earth to fulfill. So, people are just like, I took this little time in this brief speech to let you to know that we are serious about your development. We're serious about the development of all the islands, sister islands, and Tortola. And we're serious about BVI being one and not any division. So I would like to say thanks to the Minister of Education here last night. And the Minister of Education, and before him, I want to say thanks to the district rep. The district representative plays a vital role. And we thank him for what he does. And one thing he cannot say is that we just disrespect him. He might not like all the decisions, but we respect him. Sometimes he might find out a little late, but we don't find out late too. Because sometimes how this government moves, they know me. I put in the site, I'm going to Justin Dykes now, who want to come? And as a premier, well, you didn't schedule it. I said, no, you got to move with the impulse and move. So I want to thank Brother Mitch. And sometimes he said, Premier, in the house, I don't see the money. I tell him, money just come with ideas, not in a book. Once you have a vision and your idea and you bring it to fruition, the money does come. And I told my side that, and look what happened. We brought this thing to fruition, boom, a donor came. All you have to do is move in faith. Show me anybody in the Virgin Islands who got their house built with all the money. None. You move with faith. Someone bring a ton of steel and give you. Someone, all the men come and say, let me help you for a weekend. Some contractors give you some men and say, I'll sponsor them for a week on your building. Who had everything to build their house when they were building? Not one. Our DNA as Virgin Islanders is to move with what is in your hand, with the prayers to God, moving forward. And that's how we build here. That's why the greatest economists cannot understand our economy and our people. We keep moving with faith, and that we shall continue to do. And the Minister of Education, let's give him a round of applause. He's as consistent could be. I told him he could play poker. He doesn't change his face whether he pleased or he angry. It's the same face. But he don't take his meekness for weakness. So I want to thank all of you here today in Jocelyn Dykes. It was very important that we come over. The district officer, I also thank her for what she does. And today is the start of a great day with a new school. Let's move to the next stage, Minister of Education and District Rep. Let's start to get a committee together to name the school. So that when we throw open those doors, it's open with a name that signifies what the people of Jocelyn Dykes is about. So now that I've sharpened your pencil and you have gotten the point, I will now scribe my way out of here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. Certainly nobody can say it like he does. Very good job of wrapping up today's ceremony. We have come to the end of this ceremony, and I just wanted to pause to say thanks. Thanks to God Almighty for a beautiful day indeed that He has made, that we could be here and rejoice and be glad in it. You know, earlier it started to drizzle, and some plastic started to come just in case. And as it started to drizzle, the Assistant Secretary said, come, start praying, start praying. And look what God has done. No further drops came down. Thanks to those of you who've joined us on Facebook. Thanks to the Department of Information and Public Relations, always on hand to make sure that the messages get out. The progress of the government continues to go locally and overseas. Dorian and Raniel, thank you very much for being here. I want to say thank you to the Attorney General's Chambers, Attorney General Don Smith, and Miss Lumi for record-breaking time turnaround of the contract. We are indeed grateful to the RDA as well for the assistance that they rendered, especially Mr. John Primus and Mr. Neil Smith. Principal and staff at the Just Van Dyke Primary School, I see you. I see you, Mrs. Henry. Yes, Miss Honorable DeCastro talked about the recent appreciation dinner. When you talk about creativity, look at Principal Henry to bring it through for you. So I see you and all that you continue to do. Our program participants, all are at-large representatives, and while I'm at-large representatives, let me just acknowledge presence of Honorable Neville Smith. I did give apologies for your absence earlier because you were doing a good deed. So we're thanking you for gracing us with your presence this afternoon. And I acknowledge Miss Carmen Blyden, our district officer, confusing with Sister Islands Program Coordinator. So district officer here in Just Van Dyke, thank her for all that she continues to do. And all of our speakers, Premier, Honorable Wheatley, Honorable Turnbull, Honorable Flax Charles, Honorable DeCastro, Honorable Malone. Thank you very much. Mr. Butcher, again, thank you. And again, the fire is on. The heat is on. But we are confident that you and Mr. McCall will deliver for us. Thank you, everyone who has joined us here today. I want to say a special thank you to Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Ms. Lorna Stevens, for organizing today's events, pulling everything together. Thank you, Ms. Stevens. I know you should have been on vacation today, but the Lord will strengthen you and you'll get there eventually. So thank you for everyone who came out today. We appreciate you taking the time, and we say farewell. And the representatives. You'll have some good photos before we leave, and you move on to your next assignment. Thanks again to everyone. Raniel, it's over to you. Huh?
You guys don't mind waiting here with this land in the background where you're signing for?
Okay.
So we stand right out there. Okay, please. So